from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, January 17th. So today we have the moon moving out of Scorpio energy, moving into Sagittarius energy. So the moon will be going void, of course, at 9:28 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be locking into that Sag energy 12:35 p.m. So not a very long time that the moon will be void, of course, but as you know, when the moon is void, things get shaky, things get unstable, things get a little bit weird. We start kind of questioning everything that we thought we were sure of. Now, coming out of Scorpio energy is always welcome because, the moon in Scorpio is very intense. We've definitely been put through the ringer. We've definitely had an inner transformation take place over the last couple of days. And Sag energy acts as the light at the end of what has been a very long, dark tunnel in the Scorpio energy. Sag energy brings us to the light once again after doing the deep dive in the shadow realm, the darkness that Scorpio energy takes us on. And the Sag energy brings us back to a safe place where we can focus on the future, focus on new dreams, where we're excited, we're optimistic, where we're seeing a big picture, especially of why it is that we had to sit in the darkness and sit in the funk of the Scorpio energy, because a lot of things got realized. And with this new realization, we stand in a new truth. And with this new truth, we take on a different path and direction. And with this path and direction, we need a little bit of life force energy, which of course fire energy is, and Sag is a fire energy. It gives us a new spark. It gives us a new excitement, a new optimism, a new confidence to actually move forward and explore new territory. So that is a big deal. We have that shift taking place. We will definitely feel that shift very dramatically in our inner realms. Now, today adds a little bit of an extra layer of oomph because today is the very last day of Mercury's retrograde. We will have Mercury going direct here tomorrow, Wednesday, January 18th. If you haven't listened to the Astro Forecast, you should probably do that. We are definitely going to feel an intense pressure in the headspace here today as we kind of reach that pivotal point where Mercury wants to kind of wake up out of his drunken or drug slumber. That, typically speaking, is how I describe Mercury's retrograde. And we are going to have a lot of processing going on, whether you're conscious of it or not, doesn't matter. There's a lot of pressure going on in our inner realms to sort things out, to wake up, to get our bearings, to speak on some things, to communicate ourselves effectively. And of course, it's going to take a while before we're able to do any of that with clarity and with confidence, because we are going to be in a post-shadow period up until February 7th. So we have this added layer of intensity on the day because Mercury is preparing to shift. Now, there are 9 different aspects here today. Again, another day of 9. If you listen to the Ascension forecast this week, you would know that I spoke about some of the patterns that I seen kind of emerging out of this week. 9 being one of them. 9 is an ending point. It's a completion point. That's what we're doing this week, as we are essentially cutting off the old, again, wrapping up Capricorn season, wrapping up Mercury's retrograde, and we are preparing to move forward in a big way. We are moving forward in a very fast forward, accelerated kind of way when Mercury goes direct, because of course Mars is waiting to back Mercury with all of the energy needed in order to bring ideas to life. And then just hours after Mercury goes direct, the sun moves out of Capricorn energy, moves into Aquarian energy. We have a totally different vibe taking place with that. And we are, speeding up. We are fast forwarding ourselves through a lot of the lower, slower obstacles and challenges that we have been facing, especially in Capricorn season. So there is a lot of wrapping up. There's a lot of completion points happening this week, and all of these 9s are very indicative of that. So out of these 9 different aspects here today, 7 of them are going to involve the moon. So while the moon is still very much in the Scorpio energy, we are going to see a trine, a beautiful interaction with Pisces energy, because Neptune, who is in its place of power in Pisces, is blending its energies with the moon. We get some water on water action here. What do we know about water? Well, first of all, it's highly emotional, super intuitive. It's very cleansing, very transformative, very healing, and definitely preparing us for a sudden shift, both in our inner realms and in our outer realm. Now, this particular interaction is going to have our intuition leading us through visionscapes. What does that mean? Well, it means that we are tapping into new visions, new dreams, new goals. We are in imaginary land. We are highly focused on what it is that we have to let go of in order to have the space and the energy to embrace new things. We are feeling all of the feels, and in this particular energy, it's some good feels, so we actually don't mind that, but it can feel very disorienting as well. Why? Because our higher selves, our intuition, is suggesting us make moves and pursue paths that our physical circumstances don't really support. We'll be working out those details as Mercury goes direct as well and as we shift into Aquarius season. But right now, we're kind of enjoying this little la la land experience because it allows us a little bit of a vacation from some of the heavier physical circumstances that many of us are too heavily weighted in. The moon goes ahead, semi-squares Mercury. So Mercury still very much in a retrograde, but just edging towards that direct position. Still very much in Capricorn energy, but a semi-square does suggest that there is a little bit of conflict happening here. So first of all, the moon representing our emotions and our heart space. Semi-squaring, which is a tension point of conflict with Mercury, the mental plane. Our heart and our head are not on the same page. And mostly because of the fact that our heart knows something that our intellect has yet to catch up on. The transformative and intuitive energies of this Scorpio moon puts us in a situation where we're able to have visions of what it is that we are going to pursue from here. And that situation is very different from the actual facts and details of our physical circumstances that Mercury, being in Capricorn energy, who is very stuck in this physical realm, stuck in the logic, stuck in the practicality of the here and now, is having a hard time even trying to visualize. There's not a whole lot of visualization taking place with these two particular aspects. And to make matters even more interesting, Mercury goes ahead and bumps into Mars in not the nicest way. And what this creates for us is that what we're doing in life right now is kind of opposing and in conflict with what it is that we are thinking. So we're thinking about doing something, but we're not doing it. And instead, we're doing things that we would rather not be doing. There's a lot of impatience happening here because, again, Mars is direct. We went direct last week. He's rearing to go. He's waiting for Mercury to wake the hell up so that we can kind of formulate a plot and a plan here so we can go ahead and take action. But this restlessness puts us in a situation where, first of all, Mercury being the ruler of communication as well, we're too impatient. We're not listening to people at all. We have a tendency to interrupt them, which really rubs all of us the wrong way. We are a little bit too quick to jump to conclusions, to make judgments. We are hella indecisive right now. It's not a good time to make any kind of decision. So just refrain from doing that altogether. It's creating a lot of anxiousness, a lot of restlessness, because there's this overwhelming eagerness to just move on, to just move forward. But we can't do that until our intellect is alive and well, awake, aware, focused on what it is that we have to pour our time, energy, and attention into. And Mars is getting ants in his pants. And this is kind of, I'm going to say, putting us in a very agitated state of listening to people, of waiting for things to pop off, of waiting for the green light go ahead, of trying to make sense of things. It's kind of all over the place and it doesn't feel good. Again, we're going to have this pressurized system in our headspace. We're having this restlessness take over because Mars is just almost at this point shaking Mercury and saying, come on, dude, wake up. We got shit to do. And Mercury, of course, is still under the influence of drugs, because he is retrograde, so he's having a hard time coming to. To make matters even more complicated, we have the moon in Scorpio entering into the boxing ring and squaring off with Saturn, who of course is the lord of karma, who rules over systems and foundations and structures, who's in Aquarius energy. So the square that's happening here is really putting us in a situation because Saturn comes at us with all of this weight, all of these tasks and chores, all of this, military tough love type of bull. And the moon in Scorpio is very transformative in recognizing where it is that we need to change things up and recognizing that there are some roles and responsibilities that we would love to just cut off and never revisit again, but we can't. It's part of our storyline. So the energy here is like Saturn wants us to just stay the course, stay the same. Don't change anything. Just do what you got to do. Even if you're begrudgingly doing it, just do what you got to do. Well, the moon in Scorpio is like, no, I'm tired of feeling this low and slow. I'm tired of feeling angry. I'm tired of feeling trapped. I'm tired of feeling like I have to do what everybody else wants me to do. I just want to change. I want to elevate. I want to transform. I want to take this pain and this trauma and this suffering and this existential dread, and I want it to be lighter and I want it to be brighter. Now, what we get out of a square is yes, tension, a lot of stress, a lot of conflict, but also a true awareness on what needs to change and what needs to change now, right? Like there's the breaking point, and we're at this breaking point where we need to see a change now, especially in the roles and responsibilities that we have, that we've taken on, and especially in the structures and the routines and the foundation of the reality in which we've built that we're now recognizing is very outdated, is very, very heavy and weighted with things that do not make us feel good. And we are essentially looking for a dramatic change. And we're on the cusp of that. Again, the restlessness added into things here and making us feel like we have to figure out everything as of yesterday. Now, we get a little bit of help here because the moon in Scorpio goes ahead and sextiles, which is a beautiful energy, with the sun in Capricorn. So as I've been speaking about, Scorpio energy, Capricorn energy, they work very well together. They're here to basically not F around. They're here to get shit done. They're here to stay the course. They are here to do what is necessary in order to make the kind of change that we need to make in order to be able to start building towards our new goals, our new dreams, our new visions. And a sextile means that these guys are coming together, they're blending their energies, and emotionally speaking, we are leveling up to the new qualities and characteristics that we have to embody in order to get down to the nitty-gritty and actually get this job done. That's that earth energy from Capricorn. Like, what is on our to-do list? Let's get this thing started. Let's get this done. And in the midst of that, not only are we cleaning up the elements of our past, because again, we're wrapping up karma chapters here this week, but we are clearing the stage and clearing the slate for the new elements to actually materialize, which is very much what the sun in Capricorn is all about. Now, the moon goes ahead and bumps into Chiron, the wounded healer. No surprise here. Every single time we boss up, every single time we reach a new level of empowerment, those dark force energies kick in and try to keep us in a state of paralysis. This is the point in time where we're going to start falling apart, so to speak. We're questioning things. The fears, the doubts, the insecurities come into play. We are really doubting whether or not we have what it takes to do what is necessary in order to break free from the old and basically get started on creating the new. Now, we have about, I'm going to say, an hour and a half of this intense pressure early morning before we have the moon in Scorpio make its very last aspect before going void, of course, which just happens to be a very positive one with Pluto, its ruler. Pluto is about transformation, about recognizing where the pain and the trauma and the suffering and the hardships and the challenges and the obstacles weren't meant to break us, but were designed in order to empower us. And the emotions from the moon in Scorpio are changing very rapidly to an empowerment point of view where we're actually bossing up, where we're able to take our power back, and where we're able to boss up and take new roles and responsibilities in our lives to have a little bit more control over what actually happens to us. So this is a very powerful energy. But then, of course, the moon goes void, of course, which brings on the instability, brings on the shakiness, brings on the uncertainty, locks into Sag energy, like I had mentioned, at 12:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's the kicker. We go all the way to 6:05 p.m. before the next aspect takes place, and it's between Venus and Jupiter, and it's a semi-square, and it does not feel good. Why? Because we are feeling the discontentment, the boredom, the uncertainty within our relationships. Keep in mind, Venus is the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money. She's in Aquarius energy. She's emotionally detached, so she can see her relationships from a brand new perspective, where it is that, safety, security, stability either is very much lacking in where it's needed, or is very much there, but is kind of creating some, I'm going to say, boring aspects in our relationship dynamics. And we have Jupiter, who's about growth, expansion, beliefs, and blessings, who magnifies things, who turns the volume all the way up on things, who's in Aries energy, the fire energy, the very first sign of the zodiac, who just wants to kick off new things, who just wants new experiences, who just wants new opportunities. And let me tell you, with a semi-square, this is a lot of tension. We're realizing where we're bored. We're realizing where we're discontent. We're realizing where we're just not feeling the vibe, where we're not happy, where there's not a lot of joy, not a lot of pleasure. This doesn't feel good. Then we have this overwhelming, because Jupiter, he makes everything extra, this overwhelming impulse to overstate our feelings, which we can't even articulate correctly because, of course, Mercury is retrograde. We have this overwhelming want, need, and desire to fix and change everything yesterday, which can't happen. We have a lot of our impulses coming to the surface. It makes it really hard with this Aries energy because it is very impulsive. We just want to act now, worry about the consequences later. And of course, we are not in a state of doing that at all. There is this, I'm going to say, element where we're acting a little bit dramatic to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged. We are trying to fill a void of this discontentment with entertainment, with food. You might find yourself like wanting to just, spend money to have a novelty item excite you because you're bored in all other aspects. Bottom line, we have the tendency to go a little bit overboard with this particular energy. We're hella dramatic. We're super extra. The volume and intensity is all the way up on our thoughts, on our feelings, especially when it comes to our relationships, and it does not feel very good. And with Mercury just, edging towards that direct position, there's a lot of pressure in our mental plane. With Mars rearing to go, just waiting for Mercury to go direct so that they can take action on some of these ideas. We have a restlessness and aggressiveness take over. It is a mixture for some not so nice situations to pop off in our personal relationships. So I would definitely say be very cautiously aware with your energy, with your feelings, and it might just be a time to withdraw, if you will, until this energy passes. Now, here's the thing. The moon, now in Sag energy, goes ahead and trines Jupiter, its ruler. So a trine is a good energy, thank goodness. Sag energy and Aries energy is fire on fire, and Jupiter tends to magnify and turn the volume all the way up. Now, here's the thing. Emotionally speaking, we are digging ourselves out of this earlier hole. We have an optimism, we have a confidence, we have a positivity with the moon being in Sag energy. We have a new truth, we have a new quest, we want to go on a new adventure, we're excited about things again, we are plucking out the silver linings, but we have a tendency to I'm going to say, fantasize what this new reality may be. And any time that we over fantasize or over I'm going to say, state what it is that we want to imagine for ourselves, we tend to set ourselves up for disappointment. And now that's not trying to knock the wind out of your sails. What that is trying to do is to just let you know that we're going to come out of this funk hot and heavy, and we're going to go to the furthest extreme of feeling good, semi-manic, almost on the verge of elation. But I don't know that it's true. I don't know that it's real. I don't know that it's authentic. It's just a vibe that we're trying to ride in order to, I'm going to say, distract ourselves from the earlier cluster F that we realized in our personal relationships.